This is the 10 by 12 foot Harbor Freight greenhouse that we purchased and erected in a weekend. It is an aluminum structure with polycarbonate panels. Has two doors on the front, and it has vents on both sides of the roof. This is for the hydroponic gardening system that I'm doing. This is the feed tank that has water and nutrient in it. You'll notice that it feeds through the tubes, black and white tubes, into the door, the front of the structure. This is a quick panoramic looking right in the door. Once inside, there's the electrical. The pumps just kicked on. Those are all timers for 3 different water lines. Here's my water lines going up. Come across the front door. Down the side, there's an LED solar light. There's some some kiwi vines that my wife has planted. We're growing. We grew those from seed, obviously. These are red bell peppers. You can see some of those are already out. There's about a dozen on this plant. Next to that are Cubanelle peppers. These plants were planted back in November. This is their second fruiting. Next to that we have a tomato plant. This is a Parks Whopper. These tomatoes will be between 10 and 16 ounces each. As you can see, size wise, there's my finger next to the tomato. So they are doing very nicely. We also have an heirloom beefsteak tomato planted. We have yellow squash. The vine that's running up the corner there with a nice lizard on it, those are the Chinese yard-long green beans, 18-inch long beans. They're awesome. These are cucumbers. This tomato plant is called a Charger hybrid. It's supposed to be a large yielding tomato. These are the hydroponic bucket. You can see the water right now watering on this red cabbage. Have cilantro planted here as well. Broccoli at the base. These are regular bush green beans. Collards. There's some basil and some curly kale. I also have some basil here in the dirt. This is celery that we planted. We recycled the butt of the celery. That is a kiwi tree. It got a little singed. On this side of the greenhouse, there's red cabbage, cilantro. It's kind of old, and you can see the grape cherry tomatoes that run all the way up to the ceiling. Those vines are about 10 feet tall. Plenty of flowers. Next to that we have yellow pear-shaped tomatoes. They run like the grapevine tomatoes, only they're yellow pear compared to the normal red grape tomatoes. And they are loaded up. We have spinach. You can see the spinach being watered there. A little bit more curly kale up the top. Down at the bottom we have some German thyme, a couple of red, or I think they're white sweet onions, and there's some more tomatoes on the back side. A different variety there. Still a red tomato. Over here are strawberries. These again are last year's plants that I decided to keep just to see how they would do. More cilantro and red cabbage and strawberries at the bottom. The strawberries in the bottom of these buckets were runners off of these original plants. So they're doing real well. We don't have any strawberries on them right now because I just picked them all this morning. More basil at the top. This basil's growing in the a different substrate than dirt. And then there's another tomato plant. This tomato plant is another cherry tomato, but it grew on its own from a tomato that fell into the substrate. So that's it in a nutshell. You can see the roof of the greenhouse stays vented. Solar lighting it's on at night. That's looking out the doors toward the pool in the back of our house. I have a fan for ventilation, which I'll turn on. And again, these doors open and close. So that's about it for the greenhouse itself. Seems very sturdy. We haven't had any super high winds. Walk around to the side down the path here. Going around to the back of the greenhouse, we have some other things planted in our container garden. We just started potatoes. There are red, white, and blue potatoes in there. This is sweet potatoes. I think they're white sweet potatoes. They're growing. This is Silver Queen corn. We're trying that in the bucket. And these are more potatoes. Can't really see them popping up too much. They're just below the surface. And more cherry tomatoes. I have these outside just to see how they're going to do. I just have to keep them wet. And there are my blueberry bushes. I hope to have more of those in the ground very soon. And there's a couple other leftover tomato plants that I've just left outside to see how they'll do. And the back of the greenhouse. And the side to give you an idea of the back side of everything. So that's it. That's the greenhouse. Hope you enjoyed it. That's what we do with all our spare time. Take care.